What I'm trying to say in the final analysis, once we take control of ourselves, we have to stop being imitators and be innovators. And realize we've got a continent 12 million square miles. Wherever our bodies are on the face of this earth, our cultural and political heartbeat is in Africa. Whether you ever go to Africa or not, that is your home, that is the home of your spirit, and that is the heart and meaning and definition of your commitment. And none of us, any place in the world, will be free until that continent is free.
The Mossy Warrior Clan was created because myself and others like Brother Nahisi saw a need for a young African group to analyze information concerning the African phenomena with no bias, with rigor, and with scholarship. We created the Mossy Warrior Clan for the purpose of being an expert research team, of being a team that produced products, a team that was capable of producing products for African people globally to dispel myths, rumors, and provide them with accurate scholarship.
How the fuck y'all find an African in my fucking family, but y'all ain't
by
find
his
y'all?
own genealogy.
Shut the fuck up. That don't make sense, for one. Listen, y'all don't know what y'all
I
did.
don't feel like you standing on business.
Y'all lied on me, because y'all won't even know if that's me. And if y'all can trace that shit back to it's me, it's only 2 people in YouTube that got my information.
Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of me. Half of this track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us honestly. You ain't a Cherokee, nope. You ain't a Chickasaw, nope. You ain't a Blackfoot, nope. Nigga, get lost. You just a fool with low comprehension. So I gotta come through with the henchmen. NAC, Sean P, Shy Son, Lucky. Don't forget Jay, got no time to play. Caught an apple slipping with his genealogy. Now he's a con and I ain't talking about a singer. I'm coming for the top apple leader. He ain't a teacher, he's a preacher. He can't keep up, so we leave him. Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of me. Half of the track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us possibly. You ain't a Cherokee, no. You ain't a Chickasaw, no. You ain't a Blackfoot. Nigga, get lost. You just a fool with low comprehension. So I gotta come through with the henchmen. NAC, Sean P, Shy Son, Lucky. Don't forget Jay, got no time to play. Caught an apple slipping off his genealogy. Now he's a con. OTK. TKO. Now he's a con. OTK. You died. TKO. Genealogy.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here today because we are dealing with Francis Cress Welsing. We have Brother Kenny, who was highly upset with me earlier on a call because I called her works pseudo. and he is here to refute that, argue the position, and prove without a shadow of a
Well,
that
no, don't set me up to do that. So, first of all, this is Kenny, piece and pan fried chicken to everybody in the room. But I didn't, hold on. Don't set me up for failure.
Bro, I'm not setting you up for failure. I'm going to let you explain yourself in just a second. Please, just let me finish. Okay? We were on a call, and I said what I said about Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. So we're going to have this quote-unquote argument, debate, whatever you want to call it, regarding
a conversation.
It's better. We're about to have a conversation, intellectual conversation regarding Dr. Francis Cress Welsing and her ISIS papers. And we're going to get into that and much more. So he is pro, I am con. And without further ado, because the brother is ready to introduce himself, I am going to allow him to introduce himself. But first, I want the people on the panel, I don't know if they want to introduce themselves or not. They are members of the Bar Reloaded. So now you can see where this conversation stems from.
Oh my
and
God.
I want to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves to everyone out there in the live. I appreciate everybody tapping in. Continue to like the show, share the show, tell a friend, we're live. It's gonna get a little heated, but you know, it's all intellectual. So we're going to allow the founder of the Bar Reloaded to mediate, and we're going to respectfully give each other to get our points out. But before we go, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to let the ladies go first that are on the channel.
Hi, I'm Cookie.
Hi, Cookie.
How you doing?
We appreciate you being here today. Hello, Sage.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Tiffany.
And I go by the name of Wall Street Willie.
Tiffany and Kenny, who claims he's Wall Street Willie. And Abdul is still running errands. He on the clock. Gotta get straight. And y'all already know who that laughing motherfucker is.
Yeah, I'm Honey. Favorite
Well,
student.
peace to everybody in the chat.
Let's get to it.
All right, so listen, I'm gonna let you go first.
I mean, so I wasn't allowed to prepare for this conversation, so I don't have much going first. I have more questions for you than anything else. I just wanted to state that.
Okay. Before you get into your questions, we need to lay down we need to lay a foundation down to build on if we're going to have a conversation, so people can understand intellectually what we're dealing with.
Absolutely.
And if that's
so
okay.
When I look at your panel, and some of your previous videos, I do believe that most of this community knows who Francis Cress Welsing is. Many of them might not know her works by name, but her major work was the ISIS papers. A lot of people over time have seen a lot of value in that. You said that the sister's work was pseudo. So I'm more curious to your stance on that. I want you to educate me.
Okay, so you see what's in my hands, right? Can you see that?
I can't really see it, but what is it? I'm assuming the book?
Yeah. Can you see now?
ISIS papers. I see it now.
Right. So it's to let you know, right? I read her work. I've been having this for quite some time. Years ago. I read this back in like 2014, 2015-ish.
So let's dive in. Right. What do you believe about her work as pseudo?
Hold on, Abdul. What's up, Abdul? You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, how you brothers and sisters doing this lovely evening? This is Abdul Abaka, the baby. And I'm just here to see y'all get it. You know what I'm saying? I love the information. I love when we do these types of these shows right here where we present the evidence. Congratulations, brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Salute.
All right, so listen, before we go back and forth, we have to establish some type of rule. I understand that you said that you're unprepared for this prepared conversation, right?
Right. Because
So,
just to
no,
give the audience,
hold on, Kenny, just hold on. I'm gonna let you get it off.
Go ahead.
I really want you to go first, but I want Honey Clark to go ahead and speak, if that's cool with you. I want her to speak, right? So she can bring people up to speed, unbiasedly. We even arrived at this discussion.
That's debatable. But go ahead.
Honey Clark. Yeah, we on. I'm waiting on her. She on mute. Come off mute.
Huh? Me?
Yeah, you. Only Clark on this one.
Yeah, you.
Yes, sir.
Peace, honey.
Peace. What's up?
So listen,
I was waiting for you to give some type of commentary on it.
Okay, yeah. So I need your commentary on how we arrived at this point, and what.
You asked, like, I guess about people taking information from women, and he was naming women who he felt he would take information from, and he named 3 women. And when you said that this particular person had pseudo information, um, you were challenged by a couple people on her information and how is it pseudo. They don't think that what she was giving out was pseudo. So that's how we got here.
All right. So, Kenny, do you agree with that?
All right. So the first thing I want to point out for the audience, peace to the audience out there, peace to the chat. Stomp on that like and subscribe. Give my brother that traction he needs. So the first thing I want to say when I look at the panel who I'm speaking with now, most of these people were in line with the fact that Frances Cress Welsing, my queen mother, that her information was pseudo. So this is where the actual question that was asked of me was, who are women who I'm willing to take information from? What my response was, whether it comes to man or woman, I take my information from people that are coming from a vetted source, people whose information has been qualified and that I can believe in. So I brought up Frances Cress Welsing as one of those people. I also brought up the Queen Mother Shahrazad Ali. I also wanted to speak on some of the sisters who are doing a great job today in 2024. When you're talking about Amber Ruffin, when you're talking about Angela Rye, when you're talking about Jamel Hill, when you're talking about Stacey Abrams, I could go on and on and on. But my point was, I'm willing to take information from women, especially my sisters, Black women, when they come from a space that has been vetted. The response I got to that was that Frances Cress Welsing's information, the body of her work, what she dedicated her life to, was pseudo. That's where you and I went our separate ways. So my first question to you would be, what makes her work pseudo?
All right. So I'm going to pull up something as a basis. We tried to share this with you in the chat, and I don't know if you were paying attention to. Right. I don't know if you were paying attention to it or not, but just to give you a basis, this is a basis. I have other things that I'm going to follow up with that, but I don't want to talk about her early life or anything like that. I want to get directly to the point.
I want to qualify the fact that I have looked at this because some of my responses came directly from this wiki. You asked me, what is she a doctor in? What is she qualified in? Some of that information I got from this exact same wiki you're presenting. I'm with you.
All right. Okay. So who is Frances Cress Welsing? She's an ancestor of ours. Okay. She was an American psychiatrist, well-known proponent of the black supremacist melanin theory. Her 1970 essay, The Cress Theory of Color Confrontation and Racism, White Supremacy, offered her interpretation of what she described as the origins of white supremacist culture. She was the author of the ISIS Papers, Keys to the Colors. Okay, just so we know. All right, we ain't pissing on her education because she's got one. She actually got a couple. All right, so that's not up for debate or anything like that.
I'll hold you to that later, but yes, sir. Continue.
Yeah, her getting an education doesn't have anything to do with what she, her other work. It's obtaining that knowledge and then how she uses that knowledge, which is in question regarding a specific work. So in 1992, Welsing published the ISIS Papers, The Keys to the Colors, the book and compilation of essays that she had written over 18 years. I have it right here to the left. The title was inspired by the ancient Egyptian goddess Isis, the sister wife, the most significant of god Osiris, or Wasir. According to Welsing, all the names of the gods were significant. However, also according to Welsing, Wasir means Lord of the Perfect Black. Although there is no etymological validity to this assertion, Welsing specifically chose to name the Isis for her admiration of truth and justice that allow for justice to be stronger than gold and silver. That's in her book, ladies and gentlemen. And I can take you directly to the page. It's in page 9, as you can see right here in the wiki source. So I can open up her book and go to page 9 and I can qualify it. Although it is lost in translation in this particular paragraph, but it is here. So I'm looking at it's like in the third paragraph. Well, I'm gonna just give it to you like this. Racism, white supremacy having begun as a form of self-alienation has evolved into the most highly refined form of alienation from others as well. The color confrontation theory views of all the present battlegrounds in the world as vivid reflections of this reality. The destructive and progressive behavioral patterns being displayed by white peoples toward all non-white peoples is evidence of the inner hate, hostility, and rejection they feel towards themselves, and of the depth of self-alienation that has evolved from the genetic and psychological kernel of color inadequacy. Now, I want to stop right there just to give you a little brief of what she's saying beforehand, before you get to the little sentence that they use out of page 9 to actually put into this particular article, right? Because the color inadequacy of whiteness necessitates a social structure based on white superiority. That's what she argues. Okay. Now, to continue, in this book, she talks about the genocide of people of color globally, along with the issues faced by Black Americans. According to Welsing, the genocide of people of color is caused by people's inability to produce melanin. I want you to hold this right here, right? She says the genocide of people of color is caused by white people's inability to produce melanin. Ladies and gentlemen, this is, let me bring Will back because he had fell off. This is a claim of Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. So her first issue, the first issue that we have here is based on this line. The genocide of a color of people caused by people's inability to produce melanin. The minority status of white has caused what she calls a preoccupation with white genetic survival. She believed that the injustice caused by racism will end when non-white people worldwide recognize, analyze, understand, and discuss openly the genocidal dynamic. I want to pause right here because this is her belief. She thinks that if the whole world was non-white, that some kind of way it would be a better place. Never minding the stereotypical racism that other people have toward us as well. Mainly, more specifically, I should state, the Arabs. right? And we can take a look at that during the transatlantic slave trade, which is not mentioned here, but that's another discussion for another day. I am just mounting, right, my position for Brother Kenny. Now, she also
You're definitely mounting your position.
Absolutely. So I'm just, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to give you her claims and then where they crumble. Now, she also tackled issues. Welsing, such as drug use, murder, teen pregnancy, infant mortality, incarceration, employment. According to Welsing, the cause of these issues is white supremacy, the white man's race to the top. Black men are at the center of Welsing's discussion because, according to her, they have the greatest potential to cause white genetic annihilation. That is another claim that she makes. So again, for Brother Kenny, just to understand that there are a few claims here that are laid by Dr. Frances Cress Welsing that she argues, and in her book, we never find the validity of the evidence for that. Again, I'm still on page 9. I'm trying to let the people know that these are the things that are said on page 9 specifically. So before I go any further with her views, right? I just want to go. I want to finish page 9 if that's okay with you.
I would just propose one thing. I think the best way to grasp what Frances Cress Welsing stood on was her interview with Phil Donahue, where she was able to lay these things out while she was still with us. Right? I'm wishing nothing but peace to my ancestor as she transitioned. But if you want to hear these things from her mouth directly, you can easily YouTube the Phil Donahue interview that she did, where she illustrates these things better than I ever will. But go ahead, brother.
Okay. What's better than the Phil Donahue interview, which is time, and due to time restraint, she can't critique her. She can't get out her full argument. Her book is a better source than the Phil Donahue because it's her exact words.
I agree with that.
All right. So I want to read this to y'all again. I want to pick up where I left off. So it says, the mass inability of whites to live and attend school in the presence of non-whites is expressed in the pattern of black and white housing and education throughout this country and the world. In terms of color confrontation thesis, this inability is seen as the apparent psychological discomfort experienced by whites in situations where, in confronting their neighbors of color, they must face their color inadequacy daily. Also, the myth of white superiority is exploded in the presence of equitable social and economic opportunity. The white personality in the presence of color can be stabilized only in blacks and other non-whites in obvious inferior positions. The situation of mass proximity to blacks is intolerable to whites because blacks are inherently more than equal. People of color always will have something highly visible that whites never can have or produce. The genetic factor of color. Always in the presence of color, whites feel genetically inferior. That's a claim that she makes. The difficulty whites have in according non-whites social, political, and economic equality within the white supremacy structure stems neither from a moral issue nor political or economic need, but from the fundamental sense of their own unequal condition in regards to their numerical inadequacy and color deficiency. They can compensate for their color inadequacy only by placing themselves in socially superior positions. The color of inadequacy of whiteness necessitates a social structure based on white superiority. Only tokenism can be tolerated by such a motivational psychological state, wherein the evolution of the myth, the exceptional non-white, is used again as a defense mechanism.
So we're gonna get started.
That's her page 9 argument. So again, I just want to reiterate the 3 positions, and I'm backwards. Black men are the center of Welsing's discussion. According to her, they have the greatest potential to cause white genetic annihilation. So, my question to you, Brother Kenny, would be, where is the evidence to support this assertion that black men have the greatest potential to cause white genetic annihilation?
LeVar Ball's family.
The who?
LeVar Ball. Some of your audience may know who LeVar Ball is, right? This is a black man with a white wife that has produced the Ball babies. Lonzo, D'Angelo, something else low, right? When you're talking about genetic annihilation, when you look at these, good.
His name, no. I was telling you his name was Jello.
Right. Whoever them little dudes is, I don't know. Shout out to them, peace to them, right? When you look at what comes from that merge of a black man and a black woman, this is what Francis Cress Welsing was illustrating that is the major fear. When you look at them, they're clearly not white. Now, if you were to add 2 more generations, right, of their children being with black counterparts, they look even different. Now, where I can accept, right, I like to keep it in contemporary spaces where we have things that we can see, right? So you can also look at the child of a mixed race marriage, Patrick Mahomes, who married a white woman. His kids aren't recognizable at all to us. They look nothing like us. So I can understand a conflict there saying that we can just annihilate their features. But it is a fact that if a white woman has a child with a black man, that child no longer looks black. Tiffany, I want to know your opinion on that.
Hold on,
You be an
we
expert.
We can't go to.
All right, I'll wait.
All right. So,
I'll wait.
Let me respond to that. All right, so you got away from the actual point, but I want to try to make it clear for the audience. Your argument is that, according to Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, that black people have the greatest potential to cause white genetic annihilation. You are basically arguing that when a black man marries a white woman or have children with white women, that causes the dilution of that. Have you taken into the account that LeVar Ball himself may not even be 70 or 80% of African descent, or even black in that case? That
No.
he himself may even be of admixed.
No,
black
because
European.
I don't think that was, in my opinion, that was never a part of her argument or mine. I don't think that most people. Hold on. You asked me a question. Let me answer. Right? I don't think that most people that interact with LeVar Ball would doubt that he's a black man. I think socially, we're at a place where most people wouldn't even doubt that his sons that don't look like the quintessential average black man, people wouldn't even deny that they're black. The typical argument would be that LeVar Ball's sons are black, right? Or do you disagree with that?
No, LeVar Ball's children are mixed.
So that's a heavy conversation. And I get your point. And honestly, when it comes to that conversation, I would probably agree with you more than I disagree. But what I'm saying is, dealing with the constructs of current society, most people would consider LaMelo Ball black. No. They wouldn't consider him white.
No, they would consider him mixed.
This is why, hold on, I'm just making the point. I'm laying the foundation that this is why,
answering the question,
how much of the slave master's genes are in him, he still maintains that black manhood. He's still viewed as a black man, and he can still dilute other gene pools.
You're not answering the question, brother.
Repeat the question.
She says black men are at the center of Welsing's discussion. According to her, they, meaning black men, have the greatest potential to cause white genetic annihilation.
Okay.
So, how, with what evidence does she have to support white genetic annihilation? And you argue Lamar Ball.
Correct. So I'll further that argument by saying,
hold on. Let me finish. You argued, well, you used the example of Lamar Ball and Lamar Ball's wife, which is a white woman, and their children are very light-skinned, meaning mixed.
But they're considered black. We would agree with that, right? They're considered black.
Bro, I'm not even trying to get into this is
the hard part about this conversation. We do have to go into those fields.
No, we don't. We have to deal with her claims. That's what we're dealing with.
Her claim is about genetic annihilation. My point is that white woman gave babies.
Have an argument for genetic annihilation because the Ball family knows that their mother is white, that their grandmother, which is their mother's mother, is a white woman, and that they have a choice to sleep with a black or a white woman, which we don't even know which way they're going. So to claim that black men have the greatest potential to cause white genetic annihilation is pseudo.
The question is, what do they identify as? And what I would like to do is throw that question to a sister. Hold on, let me respond. I'd like to throw that question to a sister.
Basically, and I never interrupted you. I'll let you talk. I'm being patient.
You really did cut me off. Go ahead.
No. Prior to that, brother, I let you just talk. What I'm saying to you is that the key emphasis here is white genetic annihilation. How can you make that assertion? Human beings on the face of this planet are 99.9% the same. The only
Can I just put a pin in that for a second? Because we do have someone on the panel right now who is the product of that type of relationship. That sister identifies as black.
It doesn't matter what she identifies with.
That's messed up to say to her, though.
It's not. We're not arguing how she identifies or how she sees herself. She is of mixed ancestry. She can identify black all goddamn day according to the one drop rule, which is an assertion here. That is not the argument here, brother. The argument is white genetic annihilation. How can you cause a genetic annihilation? First of all, the only reason that people have a paler skin than we do is because of an evolution in a gene in these people.
I wouldn't argue with that.
Okay, so the evolution of a specific gene, which I will bring it to the front, right? Because I always mess this up. Hold on, let me pull it up. DC, the white.
Now, while you're pulling that up, I do want to interject, right? When Frances Cress Welsing, the Queen Mother, talks about genetic annihilation, she's talking about simply the fact that LaMelo Ball will no longer be a white child coming from a white mother. That's a fact. I do believe that we have someone on this panel that can verify that just because they're mixed, it doesn't mean they're not black.
Oh, bro, that's okay. So once again, you're avoiding
that has
the
nothing
whole
to do with the question or the topic.
Yeah. So listen,
how does it not?
Let me go. We're dealing with her claim. We're going point for point on her claim, bro. And I'm going to show you how she's pseudo. So the European skin turned pale only recently, Gene suggests, right? So this is an older article. Now I can bring up a more recent article that will bring us up to par with it being a little bit further back in the date. But what I am specifically referring to is the SLC gene, right? This SLC248. Let me zoom in so that you can see it, brother.
I see what you're doing.
Okay, I'm dealing with science. So, scientifically speaking, this gene, SLC2485 gene, on Europeans, African, Asians, and American Indians. This gene exists. It has everything to do with the beginning of this argument. So, for her to make the assertion, I'm going to go back on my screen, right? Get up for other people that want to fully understand what it is that we're saying. We are talking about the light skin gene, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we are referring to, okay? We are talking about people who live in a different climatic zone, which happened over time. This genetic happened over time. So listen, I'm gonna pause it right here so y'all can see. Let me go back. Boom. Let me see if it'll get the whole screen. That's too big. All right. So anyway, after the ancestors of Western Eurasians and Eastern Eurasians diverged more than 40,000 years ago, the lighter skin tones evolved independently in subset of each of the two populations. In West Eurasians, the A111T allele of the RS142664, 6654 polymorphism in the pigmentation gene SLC245A has the largest skin lighting effect and widespread in Europe, South Asia, Central Asia, and the Near East and North Africa. Okay, so there was a study that was done, right, to get to that point. So now that we understand, because we knew, if you look, right, early Homo sapien, really early hominids, they all were full of hair. They began to shed hair 2 million years ago. Through the evolutionary process, right? Listen to me. Through the evolutionary process, soon as they shed their hair, what their skin wasn't just brown skin like that. It developed into a darker pigmentation according to the UV rays. This is essential in understanding UV radiation and eumelanin and how the dark skin gene, how the dark skin evolved over time. Once we understand that, we can understand where this white gene comes from. We have an answer to the test. So when Dr. Frances Cress Welsing asserts that black men are at the center, right? She says, have the greatest potential to cause white genetic annihilation. That claim is not based on scientific data at all. There's no evidence in her book, not on page 9, not on page 10, not on page 11, not on page 12, not anywhere in this very first chapter, all the way through page 14. There's not one single source that supports that black men will have the greatest potential to cause white genetic annihilation. Period. That means that black men would have the ability, the power, and the will genetically to destroy the SL. Let me go back to it. Hold on. Where we at? Where we at? Where we at? God damn, where we at? Boom. Will have the power to destroy this gene. Right here, as you can see it on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. That in itself is pseudo. That is the first point. Now, my brother, you can argue against anything that you want to argue with at that point. Or as you go on. Oh my goodness, the brother ain't even here. He fell off. He fell off. And we ain't even get to the rest of the shit that's wrong with her. We still on page 1. He ducked off. He said, I see what you're doing, and he dipped out. So I'm using science. Maybe his phone, because if you're on StreamYard, you know, if you're trying to look up something or whatever, it'll kick you off. So maybe potentially he kind of fell off from that point. But it looked like he in the chat. It looked like he said F this and got off.
He asked if you drop the link. He said drop the link.
Yeah. I got him. I ain't saying he running. I'm saying he, using his phone. So my point is just dealing with that very first point is that her claim that black men can destroy a gene is pseudo.
Am I in?
Absolutely.
My God. All right. So my first question to you would be, so you don't believe that mixed race children are actually black?
Brother,
what I want you to understand in this conversation with me is I subscribe. Hold on. I want to let you know where I come from, right?
Look at me, bro.
Look at
my skin, bro.
Good.
Look at my skin, bro. You asked me a question. Look at my skin, bro. I'm light-skinned. And the only reason I look a little brown right now is because I was in the islands not too recent ago out there on the Atlantic Ocean in the sun. And I still look light-skinned as of right now. I could be a lot darker. But my point is this, bro. The only reason that I'm light-skinned because at some point in my lineage, if I walk you backwards, I know that the white man slept with one of my grandmothers, great-grandmothers. And that is how we get introduced to this. Because if I showed you my goddamn grandfathers, they black asses is black as hell. So I'm not making the assertion of such. What I am stating is that according to Dr. Frances Cress Welsing's claim, brother, her claim on this bullet point right here, we're working backwards, that black men have the greatest potential to cause white genetic annihilation is not rooted in scientific evidence, and there is no argument or support for that in her book, therefore deeming it false. And it should never be asserted as such.
That's your stance. I understand that.
Yeah, but I'm showing the support.
But you didn't answer my question.
I'm not. I did. I said I'm not talking about who can be classified as black, white, or indifferent.
But that's not answering my question. If we're gonna tackle this conversation, we have to ask hard questions, right?
That's not a hard question.
Hold on.
It has no relevance. If someone identifies as black or white or mixed,
if you're gonna dismiss my argument as irrelevant, we can't move forward.
No, I said how someone identifies has nothing to do with this discussion. This is about me calling her work on this topic specifically.
Understood. So I asked you a very specific question. Do you consider
her work?
It has no relevance. It's
her
not
work
her
is
work.
all about, as he just stated, the annihilation of
what you're
whiteness,
asking is
right? Hold on. Slow down.
That's not genetics.
He's having this conversation with me, right? So her work is about the annihilation of, for lack of a better term, because I want to, in the words of Malcolm X, I want to make it plain, right? So her work is about the annihilation of whiteness.
No,
right? No. That's actually what her work is about. Now, here's the thing. If you want to just hold it strictly to science, then you can get pigeonholed and not understand what she was saying.
No.
This is why I'm asking you the specific questions I'm asking you. So what I'm saying is, you stand on what you stand on, so I'm saying humor me, right? If Francis Cress Welsing is saying that black men sleeping with white women can annihilate whiteness, right? If we're going to make it simple, right? When I ask you, are the Ball brothers white or black? I need simple answers so we can establish certain things. Now, I get it. You want to take it to a strictly genealogical, scientifical space. What I think wasn't understood when we had our conversation is that's not strictly where Frances Cress Welsing was coming from.
Yes, right? It is. How you gonna change her argument up, bro? I'm letting you read her argument. This is one of three.
I think you're misinterpreting her argument.
I'm not, okay? We just read it, bro, and that's the reason that I pulled the book out.
This is why I'm asking you to humor me, though. Right?
Bro, she ain't even talking.
Listen what I'm saying. Listen what I'm saying.
He's not
you
even
and I can interpret what she wrote in different ways.
All right, bro. Right? Listen.
I prefer to hold on. I prefer to keep it simple. And I also go off of her own words
not gonna go
on that Phil Donahue show that I recommend the entire audience.
No, don't nothing get more work. Don't nothing get more direct than her goddamn book. Nothing gets more direct than her book.
So you want me to say you're right? So you want me to say genes can't be annihilated? If that's your stance,
no,
then you may be right. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen, hear me out. I'm not a genealogist, right? So if that's the only stance, hear me out. If that's the only stance you're going to stand on in this conversation, then you're right. I'll give that to you. We can't annihilate the white gene, right? But if you're able to look at her work with a different set of eyes, if you're able to look at her work and be a bit more plain, as Brother Malcolm would say, right? If you're able to be a bit more plain, what she was saying was, if the black man is sleeping with these white women, they will produce black babies. Now, my question to you again is, what are LeVar Ball's babies? Them little niggas is black. This is a core, fundamental portion of her argument. I don't think anyone would disagree. And this is why I wanted to throw it to the panel. I wanted to throw it to a mixed breed to establish the fact that they view themselves as black. I don't just I'm not pigeonholed to just a genetic argument. So if that's what you want to do here, I'll concede. But if you want to have the conversation that I believe needs to be had, you have to address these questions. So when Frances Cress Welsing says that black men can annihilate whiteness, the best example you can use is LeVar Ball's babies.
Wrong.
No one used those boys as white.
No, goddamn, I ain't finna let you just keep talking. Fuck that. I'm out of patience. I'm being patient, but I'm out of patience because I said I'm working backwards. We're dealing with one of the three claims in its very first emphasis, and that shit says that black men have the greatest potential to cause white genetic annihilation. There is not an instrument on the face of this fucking earth that we possess in our genetic bodies that will annihilate the SLC245 gene. Period, point blank. It's not. There's not, bro. No matter what you say. I don't give a fuck who intermix and who have sex. It doesn't matter at all. What you're doing is you're committing the same fallacy that she did in her work because you're using scientific racism as a basis for your argument, which makes it even more pseudo. Now, I was patient and I heard you. So now I'm going to go to
what
her
I would
second.
Respond to that with.
Nah, man.
This is why.
Bro,
this
I
is
was
why.
listening to you. Let me finish.
Yeah. I don't have much time. I just wanted to get it out, my premise, and then let you go crazy after that.
No.
Go ahead. I'm gonna try
your
to.
premise first.
I'm gonna try to go
never
along.
established the premise. You wanted to defend her work, and you don't know her work. So what I'm trying to tell
I absolutely know her work. What I asked you specifically, what I asked was to be given time to go over the ISIS papers again. Because again, I read that same book, right? I wanted to go over it one more time so I could lock in. For some reason, it had to happen now. And everybody on the panel was like, oh, Kenny, don't hide, right? So I'm not hiding, right? What I'm saying is, if you can't respect my argument, then we can't go much further than that. So when Frances Cress Welsing talks about the annihilation of whiteness, she's talking about the bald boys. That's literally what she's talking about.
Not. No, she's not. Stop asserting shit. The bald brothers, the bald babies were non-existing. So how the fuck can you use that as an example? That's not an example, bro.
Because her work was specifically talking about black men making babies with white women.
Can you read?
Of course I can.
How many black men on earth are having sex?
Why would you bring me on the panel if I couldn't read? Don't insult me like that, brother.
I don't know. No, shit. Plenty of people act like they can read, but
all right. But you brought me on this panel because you wanted to have an intellectual dialogue about something. No. So I would say I don't know you just like you don't know me. Just have confidence that I can read.
Listen, I sit here and let you talk and go on.
You didn't let me talk.
The fuck I didn't
let me talk.
The fuck I didn't.
So go ahead some more. Talk some more. The wonderful thing about YouTube is this can be replayed for the masses.
Goddamn right. And
I'm gonna make my argument. I'm gonna make my argument. I'm gonna stand on it, and we can leave it there. Go ahead, brother. Continue.
Are you finished or are you done? Because
I'm not done, but I'm gonna let you go because you won't let me continue.
I let you respond, and
continue,
then you went
brother.
And then when you stop, I began to interject.
Continue, brother.
Right, it's very much so that. So as stated, we're dealing with her claims. We since we already ruled out that this shit ain't true, we are moving back. Okay. According to evidence, not an opinion, not a belief, evidence. She
evidence
also
that you accept. There was evidence that said that we weren't intellectually as capable as white people. That was accepted.
I can't even talk on my own show.
All right. I just wanted to clarify. I'm gonna drop off in a minute, but go ahead.
Nothing to clarify.
You go ham and then allow me to respond, and then I'll drop off.
She also tackled issues Welsing such as drug use, murder, teen pregnancy, infant mortality, incarceration, and unemployment. According to Welsing, the cause of these issues is white supremacy, the man's race to the top. That's her other claim. Now, socially, she's making a social statement here in using this argument to say that these things, as if white people aren't on drugs,
agree with her.
White people don't murder, as if white people don't have
That's
teen
not what
pregnancy.
she said.
Nigga, what the fuck does it say
That's
right
not
here?
what she said.
He tackled issues. Welsing.
The reality of what we know right now is these issues that you're naming disproportionately affect us.
You just said go ahead and go, and then when I start talking,
you right, King. You right, King. My fault. When it comes to the Queen Mother, though, I do get emotional. I do get excited. You're right. Go ahead, King.
Listen, I don't even care about you getting excited. My point is this: white people have all these same situations. They're not alone. Other ethnic groups also share some of these similarities. The issues is, right, which we all can assert and agree here, is that A lot of this shit happens more in our communities because of circumstance. But that doesn't negate the fact that it's not happening to other groups of people. But she makes that assertion. But again, in her book, she doesn't provide a source or an article in support of her statement.
That's not the assertion she's making.
No, I'm not. Just let me finish, bro. I'm working backwards.
I respond real quick? Because I don't have long.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
So what I'm saying is, you just literally said these things disproportionately affect us more. This is the point she was making. She was making the point that it disproportionately affects us more for a reason. If you give me a sec, I don't take long to make my points. In and out like a nigga in a trap house. Her point was these things disproportionately affect us more.
Where does it say that in her book?
Her point was never that white kids won't take opioids.
Where does it say that in her book? Where does it say that in her book?
Everything you just read.
No, nigga, I'm on the same page this goddamn quote comes from, and it's not support. She doesn't provide any sources to support it.
Listen to what
There's no study.
Listen to what I'm saying. It's like the Bible, right? It's how you interpret it. So if you
fuck the goddamn Bible, bro. No, it's not about interpretation.
Can I finish?
No, because listen, this is why you can't finish, bro. Listen, no, hell no. This is why you can't finish, bro. This is why you can't finish. She has a bachelor's degree in Antioch College in Yellow Springs, Ohio. Listen, she has a bachelor's degree, bro. Not only does she have a bachelor's degree, right? She went on to do some other shit, bro. She has listen, Welsing received an MD at Howard University in the 60s. She has an MD. She worked in many hospitals, especially Children's Hospital. So in her training, bro, in her dissertation, in order to get an MD, there is a methodology that you have to follow, and you have to provide the evidence of such. You can't make the claim and then don't provide the evidence. In her whole argument regarding what I'm getting down to, in the crevice of everything that she's talking about, she don't provide the evidence to support what she's saying. She is asserting a belief. Her argument is hinged on a belief.
Can I ask you a question? Is not most science started with a theory?
No, it's not started with a theory.
So there wasn't the theory of evolution. There wasn't the theory of relativity.
No, you're incorrect.
Those weren't theories?
No. How it starts is with an observation, which leads you to form a hypothesis about something. The first stage of the scientific method, the first stage is observation. Through your observations, formulate a hypothesis. No, nigga, you use the word theory, and I'm correct.
I just want to stand on the fact that you're saying there's no theory of relativity. There's no theory of evolution. Bro, I just want to stand on the fact that that's what you're saying.
It's not going to work.
No, you can't hear. Because what I clearly said was to correct you. I said, no, what you said. No, that is how shit starts. You the assertion that nothing starts with a theory, and I said, no, it doesn't start with a theory. It starts with your observation, which formulates your hypothesis, which then should generate research questions for you to test. After testing those research questions, you should be able to come out with other information.
I understand the scientific method, but what I'm saying to you is at some point, do we end up at a theory?
Showing you how the process works, because you have to go through those steps. If you can't, if you're okay, in order to reach a scientific theory, your research has to be replicable. If it is not, it is thrown out.
So you do agree, though, that we can reach the point of having a theory, correct?
Hey, where you get this nigga from?
Simple questions I'm asking you.
Where you get
You're
this nigga
tap
from?
dancing around very simple questions.
I said
Where
not
you
on
get this
me.
nigga from?
It's not on me. That's
Because
not on
I
me.
clearly ain't tap dancing around shit.
I'm asking you simple questions,
where you
good
get him
brother.
from? Where you get?
I'm asking you, is there a theory of relativity?
Oh, hey, Kenny, hold on 1 second. I'm asking a question. Where did you get him from?
They ain't get me from nowhere. They was lucky to have me around.
Listen, that's not my.
Talk to me.
I told you it's not my. It's not my group. It's not. No.
Talk to me.
He's embarrassing himself.
He is
because I am clearly
wants a
explaining to him how the scientific method works and how you arrive at a theory, and he still asks me the fucking question.
The point is, you can arrive at a theory. What I'm saying is, what she presented was a hold on. What she presented was a theory. Until that theory is hold on. Until that theory is disproven, you cannot call it pseudo. So what I am putting on you is disprove her
reach a theory. He has to reach the theory. That is his point in telling you the scientific method. When you don't have the data and you don't have the experiments and you don't have anything else, you cannot reach the theory.
And this is what you're saying about our Queen Mother.
Correct.
You're saying she couldn't reach a theory. This is the stance y'all are standing on.
Absolutely. Show me where she reached it.
I disagree with that. So,
well, show me her work.
No. Allow me to respond. Allow me to respond.
Right? Show me where I can go find her evidence that substantiates her theory. And
brother,
then it was.
I've already told you. I understand
you ain't
how you're lining up the questions. Listen.
Where is her work? No. You can't ask me a question and just think you're going to ask me a question. I am going to answer your question.
You talked about scientific method. Theory is a very valid point in scientific method. That's how scientific laws. Hold on.
Where is the evidence? Where's the evidence?
I heard your question. Now, can we have a conversation?
No, I want the evidence.
No, I bet we can't.
Where's the evidence? In this book, she talks about the genocide of people of color globally, along with issues faced by Black Americans. According to Welsing, the genocide of people of color is caused by white people's inability to produce melanin. That is a claim. Because these white people can't produce what she called melanin, right? There's a genocide on people of color because these white people can't produce melanin. That is pseudo. So I want to come here real quick and I want to just beat this dead. The melanin theory is a set of pseudoscientific claims made by some prominent Afrocentrism, which holds that Black people, including ancient Egyptians, have superior mental, physical, and paranormal powers because they have higher levels of melanin, the primary skin pigment in humans. That is pseudo. That is the same shit that white people was trying to establish in the early 1900s. And here she is doing the same fucking shit. That is pseudo. And it ain't just because this article is saying that it's pseudo. It's the premise. Melanin ain't a goddamn superpower. Most people don't even understand what fucking melanin is. And then to say that white people ain't got no goddamn melanin is even crazier. So now let me take you to fucking melanin. And let's open up the biggest can of worms. Because, and I'm keeping it at a basic level. I'm not even trying to take y'all down the pipe with some of these scientific articles. They got these big ass words that ain't nobody gonna fucking understand. Melanin is a family of biomolecules organized as oligomers and polymers, which, among other functions, provide the pigments of many organisms. Melanin pigments are produced in a specialized group of cells known as melanocytes. Listen to this. There are 5 basic types of melanin: eumelanin, pheomelanin, neuromelanin, allomelanin, and pyomelanin. Most motherfuckers don't even know that there are 5 basic types of melanin. To skip ahead, in the human skin, melanogenesis is initiated by exposure to what? UV radiation, causing the skin to darken. Eumelanin is an effective absorbent of light. The pigment is able to dissipate over 99.9% of absorbed UV radiation. Because of this, melanin is thought to protect skin cells from UVA and UVB radiation damage, reducing the risk of foliated depletion and dermal degradation. Exposure to UV radiation is associated with increased risk of malignant melanoma, a cancer of melanocytes or melanin cells. Studies have shown a lower incidence for skin cancer in individuals with more concentrated melanin, i.e. darker skin tone. What is eumelanin, you Negroes? It has 2 forms. What are we talking about? I'm trying to keep it on a level of basic understanding. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there are 5 basic types of melanin, and we are stuck on just one. And guess what? White people have a form of melanin. Do you know what form that is? I clicked on it. You don't believe me? Let's go a step further. Ask your computer, do white people have melanin? Just ask it. And don't stop there, because we're going to go right back to human skin color, which is going to also be a dent in Dr. Frances Cress Welsing's argument. And then we're going to get in Nina Jablonski, and we're going to say Dr. Frances Cress Welsing was incorrect. And there's nothing wrong with Dr. Frances Cress Welsing being wrong about something. She was fighting against the machine in her time that she felt the need to fight against the machine. As inaccurate as it was, it set Negroes with melanin back. It did. So this article has some freaking sources in it and studies that go way beyond, because, ladies and gentlemen, when we talked about the evolutionary process, and I told you about 2 million years ago, motherfuckers went hairless. Look at it. It says it right there. And I got the studies already. I didn't even need this, but on a basic scale, I'm trying to show you that there was a process that transpired. And I'm also trying to show you that, hey, Sutek wrote a whole damn chapter in a book about this shit. He ain't the only one. Like, we're tired of people making these assertions about this melanin bullshit. Hold on 1 second. Let me bring this nigga back.
Am I back?
Fucking right, you back.
And I heard your entire diatribe. I did. You want to go along a little longer?
No, go ahead.
All right. So again, when it comes to her fundamental argument, right, about the black gene being able to kill whiteness, right, I brought up a very simple, if we're pretending to be scientists in 2024, right, I gave you a simple experiment that we can look at to draw conclusions, right? If you stand on the fact that LeVar Ball's children are white, listen here, brother. This is something that these same people on this panel would say that I argue, right? I've called people on this panel white, right? But if you're not willing to accept that, then you have to accept the fact that that black man had a child with a white woman and it produced a black baby. If you're willing to accept that, then what she says has some merit. Now, when you look at qualifying her work, why would any school of white thought qualify what she's saying when what she's saying was so radical, right? I'm not saying she had it perfect. I'm not saying there weren't aspects of her work that can be criticized that may be completely wrong. I don't think the body of her work was wrong. And when you try to relegate her work strictly to genetics, you're missing the point she was making. So this is what I'm saying to you.
The whole show.
That's what I'm saying, right? If you try to relegate her work strictly to genetics, you're going to miss the overarching point of her research. When we look at the overarching point of her research in 2024, you'd be hard pressed to find a black person, right, who would disagree with her work. Now, to your points about melanin and how it doesn't matter and all these different genetics, that's not an argument I'm trying to have. Again, I said from the gate, I'm not a geneticist, right? You still with me, brother? Hello? Am I on? I'm just making a point, right? When you look at the Ball brothers, those are considered black men. So if you apply that to her overarching theory and everything she stood on, it's right and exact and it makes sense, right? If white men were to allow their women to continue to procreate with black babies, you'll get more niggas that look like Steph Curry, right? We can agree with that, correct?
Wrong.
I'm trying to keep it simple. So you think they'll all look more like... Hold on. So you think...
Mom and dad is black, bro.
Hold on.
His mama
let's have
and
a conversation. Let's have a
his
conversation.
mama and daddy is black. His mama and daddy is black. Weak argument.
What I said was look like. Most people would agree that Steph Curry looks like a Ball brother. Most people, when I say that, that won't go over their head.
Oh my God.
They'll understand what I'm saying, right? So now, because that's being missed here, let's keep it very simple. Let's just focus on the Ball brothers. If we agree that those are considered black men, then that qualifies the research that Francis Cress Welsing did.
Really, I don't understand.
Talk to me, Shay.
First of all, you're talking about a social. You're talking about social. That's a social construct, right? That's one thing. So you can't put science to a social construct. That kind of makes no sense. That's one, and then two, you could be going off of the racist one drop rule if you would like to qualify that. But what qualifies black and white? What percentage? Like, where are you going with that? That's the reason why it's a social construct. Like, what is that?
Now that's a great question, and I think we have somebody on the panel. Hold on,
that's not her argument.
That's
not her argument.
Listen,
that is not
hold on.
No,
hold on.
He's trying to make his own argument, and that's the reason why it be so fucked up.
I'm not trying to make my own argument, right?
You are, because hers is genetic.
I want a mixed
you don't
woman
agree with
on
her.
the panel. I want a mixed woman on the panel to give her opinion.
I just let you talk, and we ain't listening no more, because Francis Cress Welsing states in her book that there was a genocide of people of color because white people don't have the ability to produce melanin. That is her assertion. That is her freaking claim. and it ain't backed by scientific data. She says that the minority.
Why that theory makes people uncomfortable, especially
this is not
okay. Wait, no. So are you saying that you don't think that white people have melanin? You're saying white people don't have melanin. Is that what you're saying?
I never
Kenny?
stated that.
Are you?
I never
Are you
stated
saying
that a
I'm
single
asking.
time.
So are you
No,
saying
I'm
yes
not
or no
saying
to
that at all.
Okay, so then you don't agree with that. So you agree that it is
I'm not saying I don't agree
well.
with it. I'm saying it's
What the
all
fuck?
about how you
Either they have it or they
analyze her
don't.
argument. Hold on, you asked me a question. I'm saying it's all about how you analyze your argument, right? So there are levels
why we
to the
why we going
degrees
a
of
long way?
melanin
Why we
in
going a
I don't know
long
why
way?
you keep letting him talk. So that's on you.
All right.
No,
You the bitch shut me up. You the bitch shut me up.
I'm
So
gonna
just
let
saying.
y'all handle the rest of the panel. It's been a pleasure speaking with y'all, and I'm just gonna listen from here on out.
All right, good.
But
yeah, cool.
My people thought I would.
No. You done. Fuck that. You done. So, in the ISIS paper, she described white people as the genetically defective descendants of recessive genetic mutants. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me very closely.
Hey, I know somebody else who was quoting this.
She said that white people are the genetically defective descendants of recessive genetic mutants. Let me make myself clear, and I apologize for it. Keep scrolling up. Do she understand the recessive gene and the dominant gene? Because there's no way that in the chlamydic zone, an area that the gene, I'm gonna go back to it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go back to it because this is where the rubber meets the road. The SL245A. This gene, ladies and gentlemen, if you go look in Western Eurasia, where this derives, the chlamydic zones, up there where this gene begins, it is not a recessive gene. It is a dominant gene. Your melanated black ass skin go up there in the fucking cold, you're gonna freeze to death. That cold weather hit your black ass different. That is because what you thought was a dominant gene close to the equator in the Sahara or below the equatorial line is no longer a dominant gene. It is recessive in that cold weather. And when they go below or near the equator where temperatures are up, now they have, now it's recessive. I don't understand why we can't understand the simple things, but in this very assertion in her paper, she claims that white people are, listen, as the genetically defective, she said defective descendants of mutants. Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, people that are listening live in the chat, everybody on this earth descends from someone who someone. I'm saying like that, just all run the weird people off. From people that mutated and adapted to a climatic zone. I don't care if you white, black, Asian, Indian, or whatever, Native American. You descend from people who went into climatic zones and mutated and adapted in order for them to survive. So to call these people genetically defective descendants of recessive genetic mutants is pseudo. She wrote that due to this defective mutation, They may have been forcibly expelled from Africa. Listen, she said, due to this defective mutation, may have been forcibly expelled from Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, I just sit here and showed you the article about the SL gene, which is still on the screen. That ain't got shit to do with shit. Let me bring it back to you. Hold on, let me do one even better. Let's map it out. Let's map out this gene. Let's map out the origins of the SL gene. Okay? And I want you to see that this ain't some shit that's in Africa. I keep saying Western Eurasia, and y'all ain't listening to me. And y'all sitting here like, oh, okay, you want to believe, this dude got a belief. So we're going to type into Google just to keep it simple. Just to keep it simple. I'm going to pull up a scientific article that was published in PNS, and it's going to talk about this allele, and it's going to speak directly to this allele. Okay, and we're going to read the abstract. I'm going directly for my answer so that we ain't wasting nobody's time. Skin pigmentation under strong directional selections in Northern European and Asian populations. The indigenous Khoisan populations of far southern Africa have lighter skin than other sub-Saharan African populations, potentially reflecting local adaptation to a region of Africa where reduced UV radiation. Here we demonstrate that the conical Eurasian skin pigmentation gene, SLC24A5, was introduced to southern Africa via recent migrations and experienced strong adaptive evolution in the Khoisan. So the reason that I'm showing you this is to show you right now, I just refuted the ancestor. I'm not disrespecting her, but I just refuted her because I just sit here and showed you that it was introduced to Southern Africa. So that means it came from somewhere else. And I kept saying Western Eurasia. So it couldn't have been on the continent, and these people couldn't have been forcibly expelled from Africa. The only reason that I am even doing this right now is because he has a belief and he's emotional about Frances Cress Welsing. He don't have any evidence. He don't even know her argument. He can't articulate, nor can he defend it, nor does he have the scientific evidence to support her, because there ain't none that exists. And that is what I keep telling you people. She don't have a goddamn source in her book that supports her argument. She uses beliefs. And for the things she does source, she tells you. She sources them. And then she puts the sources at the end of the chapter. But she puts a numeric emphasis to let you know that this is a source. So it's not that she doesn't cite a source. Where she cites a source ain't even supporting her argument. It's not interrelated with what her claims are, because she's making claims throughout the shit without providing us the evidence to support that. So to continue, she says, racism in the views of Welsing is a conspiracy to ensure white genetic survival. Pause. Racism is a conspiracy to ensure white genetic survival. When I told y'all that she's using scientific racism, I clearly made myself plain. She's doing the same thing that them pseudo-ass people in the 1900s did when they tried to use scientific racism against black people to justify enslaving us and treating us like shit. Not only us, other people of color around the world. She's doing the same thing. So racism is now a conspiracy? No. Racism is used as a social classification and construct to prop themselves up on a hierarchy of people to make it look like they're better than every goddamn body else. It ain't got nothing to do with melanin. She attributed AIDS and addiction to crack and cocaine and other substances to chemical and biological warfare by white people. So never mind the white people that got AIDS, that are addicted to crack cocaine, heroin, other opioids. It's more than motherfuckers. But here she goes. She defines it. Honey Clark, where you at?
I'm right here.
Can you read this?
Oh my god.
Man, stop all that. Hell yeah, you brought this crazy ass motherfucker to my attention.
Shut up. I want to get off the car anyway, but you want me to read what racism is defined as?
Please.
Racism. White supremacy is the local and global power system dynamic structured and maintained by those who classify themselves as white, whether consciously or subconsciously determined. This system consists of patterns of perception, logic, symbol formation, thought, speech, action, and emotional response, as conducted simultaneously in all areas of people, activity, economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion.
Keep reading.
Hold on. Religion, sex, and war.
I'm gonna tell that nigga to shut up.
The ultimate, you just pissed me off, bro. Because they thought I was talking to them. The ultimate purpose of the system is to ensure white genetic survival and to prevent white genetic annihilation on Earth, a planet in which the overwhelming majority of people are classified as non-white, black, brown, red, and yellow by white-skinned people. All of the non-white people are genetically dominant in terms of skin coloration compared to the genetic recessive white-skinned people. Who wrote this? I'm done with that. Sean.
Okay. You want me? All right, so stop. All right, now. Then it says Welsing was against white supremacy and what she saw as emasculation of black men. She theorized, listen to this, theorized that white people were the first people with albinism who were driven from Africa by the black natives. That is pseudo in itself. Now, let me interject right here. And I'll bring this up if I need to. I just have to grab the book. And I have to go through which book and try to remember which one of these books are the same author. This author that I got argued this shit. It's at the bottom. I'll grab it. I'll try to look for it. I want to talk about albinoism in Africa. So, among many different tribes in Africa, originally, when they had kids and they turned out to have that albinism, they were looking pale like that, the kid will come out like that, they used to kill the babies. They used to kill them. There was no running them out or anything like that. They used to kill them. Right? If they didn't kill them, As they gradually continue, then they would expel them at some period or point. These were still black people, because if you take them out, you take them albinos and you have sex with them, a black person has sex with them albinos, what kind of kids you think coming out? Out them Africans.
Black.
Exactly. It's going to look just like them. So over time, their worldview changed and they stopped killing them and they stopped running them off. And now I'm finna show y'all some shit. Just because I'm all about a source, I don't sit here and go with, I don't marry these motherfucking elders in our community. Hell fucking no, I'm not. Let me pull it up. There you go, BBC article. All right. Here's one of many articles. There's more. Just want to show you. The silent killer of Africa's albinos. Look at this woman. Look at her. Albinos in Tanzania live in fear of witch doctors who prize their body parts, but they face a fear greater threat just by spending time outdoors. So this whole article talks about that and how they had this whole worldview about killing these albinos in Africa. But the reason the article says they face a bigger fear outdoors, especially in Africa, goes on to show you when you have no melanin, no protection, you're just getting dinged. These insults from the UV radiation, you're getting it all the time. It's not just when you're at a beach. They were getting their ass kicked outside as well. Look, albinoism, more than 90% of people with the condition of Africa die before they reach 40 years old. It's a problem. That's not the only problem. It's not. Just because people thought I was playing earlier on, in parts of Africa, people with albinism are hunted for their body parts. The latest victim, a 9-year-old boy. This was no joke. They literally was doing this. But it changes over time. The evidence is there. The persecution of them is there. But these are not white people, as Dr. Francis Cress Welsing asserts. It's not. Look, just you can go pull this shit up and read it yourself. You can read the articles yourself. I'm not trying to lead you astray. I'm trying to show you that there's evidence out there. If you're a YouTube person, like these people are, then go watch the video on it. It's just like the Yoruba when they had twins. When many people had twins among the Yoruba, they used to kill the second child. I mean, they killed one of, I think it was the second child, because they thought the second child was hunting the first child. So they would go into the bush, kill the baby, bury it out there. And then they had a whole story about, evilness and all of that out there. But over time, they got away from killing the second baby. Shit changes. Shit changes. We should have took our ass to California. Anyway, So, of course, there's criticisms with her shit because she goes on to say homosexuality. I don't even want to get into this because people are really up in a roar over this shit. It's still a pseudo argument that is made and asserted here about this shit. And the reason that I say that is because there are laws among many Africans, right, to dispel. Right. One is one argument that I wanted to make that I couldn't make in there was regarding the Egyptians. One of the negative confessions was about sleeping with sex. Why would they make a confession? Why would they have, I'm sorry, the 42 declarations of innocence, what you know as the Peret M. Heru, or otherwise known as the Book of the Dead? What Dr. Ben likes to say, the book of coming forth by day and by night. Yes, EBG is a good thing. So I did a whole presentation about the twins, and I'll show y'all that in a minute, just so you know. But my point is this: in the Peret M. Heru, there is a declaration there about sleeping with the same sex. Why would they assert this if that wasn't seen before? You just ain't gonna come out of the side of your face thinking, you know, I did not have sex with the same person. You see what I'm saying? Something happened for that declaration to be written. And those declarations were for the wealthy, because the people that couldn't afford a Peret M. Heru, they died without the goddamn book, which had no relevance in helping them becoming an ancestor among some shit that they followed their whole entire life. But that's a whole nother conversation. So no, Kenny was not prepared to have an intellectual discussion. No, he felt like he was rushed into this dialogue. Even if you provided him 3 months, he could not mount an argument to support Dr. Frances Cress Welsing or any of her shit in that goddamn ISIS Papers book. It's pseudo. We got to get over it. We have to get over it. Oh, well, so what? The shit's pseudo. She ain't the only motherfucker with a pseudo book. She ain't. Goddamn, what's his what's his name? They came before Columbus, dude. Van Sertima. His shit pseudo. Runoko Rashidi. Pseudo. The M-Hotep dude got pseudo stuff out there. These were people who made contributions to people to the community, but it wasn't the right contributions. It wasn't the end-all, be-all contributions. Hell, freaking Dr. John Henry Clark. Everyone knows I love Dr. John Henry Clark. Everyone knows that. His ass wrote a foreword for one of the most pseudo books out there. And the only reason black people was reading it is because he wrote a damn foreword in it. And that's the white inheritance. The white man's inheritance is some shit. I mean, I said the Iceman inheritance, my bad. By Michael Bradley. Book in my hand. Pages. Book pseudo is all get out. And yeah, I got Van Sertima book over there too, for those of you who have never came to our channel before and heard me say anything. I got his book over there too. I can pull it out and I can go through it, and I've done it before. So I don't talk about things that I ain't read. That was our rule among the Seshu, that we can't talk about things we ain't read. So nope, I don't pull what other people pull on shit that ain't read shit and start giving their opinion and talking like whatever the hell they want to talk. No, it ain't me. So I'm on our YouTube page because I want to show y'all this presentation. Well, I'm not going to show it, but I'm just showing you, you know, that I did do that. I'm trying to remember though if I made it a thumbnail. I should be coming up on that mug. It's a lot of work here. It's a lot of videos. And the name of it, I think, did Ben give me the name? Because I think Black Panther gave me told me how to name it. But while I'm even doing this, to everybody on the panel, y'all straight, y'all got an understanding or any questions? Y'all can open y'all mic up and talk whenever y'all want to. Well, all y'all done fell off. Cookie, it's like you the last one standing. I guess you just listening. You ain't saying nothing. Y'all was about to hear Kofi. Nope, that ain't it. That's about the bush. And as y'all can see, old Honey Clark got off here because she had some dude in the background. Y'all know what that means. She had to check in. And he was trying to talk with a mic open and all that. They probably arguing in that back chat because he came up here and looked like an ass. Zane said Kenny made everybody speechless. Read what? What you talking about? Yeah, Rashidi Lookership was insane. But what you talking about, buy and read? Man, Teddy, he asked for that shit. Oh, hold on, my computer is doing that you know what thing. Where is this presentation that I done scrolled past? I know I did this EGV shit. Cause it's got the twins, it's got the whole twins on the front of it. Sean don't play with my sis. He got his ass whooped. He said it was fun and wanted to come back. He says, yo, bro, are you willing to come on my platform tomorrow? Seems a little dry right now. Dry? What seems dry right now? I mean, you didn't bring any question, bro. You couldn't share your screen. You couldn't do nothing. You didn't have any evidence. I mean, all you did was propose questions, And that's what you said you got. You only got questions. And that's fucked up because you claim to have a problem with everything that I was saying, but you didn't have shit rooted in evidence to begin with. So you kind of embarrassed yourself by coming up here and saying some of the things that you're saying, because now they can clip you, and I'm pretty sure that Denise is going to do that. She's going to clip you and play little incidences of shit that you said in this dialogue and use it against you. Period. So I don't recommend the ISIS papers to anyone, but I do understand that there's going to be people out there that is going to read the book, but they're not going to have they may not have certain questions. And I have other information that I can share. It's just that I didn't need to go too far with you, bro. I just needed to keep it basic because you don't have a methodology and you can't arrive at a conclusion. You appeal to authority, no matter if it's a legitimate authority or not. You appeal to authority and you make these assertions as if, they're all predicated on some shit that you ain't standing on. And you made me stop playing NCAA 2025 to edify your motherfucking ass about how pseudo you are regarding the subject matter. Nobody kicked you out, bro. I put you in a back chat because you wouldn't shut the fuck up. And when you go back and watch it, you're going to admit to your loud ass self. Damn, there was instances where he was quiet for a long period of time and I was just talking. You're going to see that. Everybody heard me. Shut the fuck up. You run off at your mouth. Looking at your followers, I'll reach about 30K more tomorrow. No, you won't. I don't know why you think you even got. Bro, what make you think you even got any people at all? You're tripping. Cookie, you still here? You ain't got nothing to say? Trying to let you know what I mean? Get yours off. That boy, they're retarded. Hold on 1 second, y'all. I need to clear some of this shit. Pseudo, bro. Like you can't make those assertions and say some of those things and you're not willing to deal with the you're not willing to deal with the work. Hold on, let me do it this way. Hold on. I am here because I earned this riding out while others had a learner's permit. And I'm telling you, I mean, I don't check Frances Cress Wells at all. We just know her melanin shit was pseudo. The ISIS paper was not um is not good for us. And it's not the only thing that was good for us. Period. And you can't argue for it. I didn't went past this Ajibi shit like twice. I know I have. Eight Maniac Cash Trap. Yep, because I started getting coded. I know I did this before that. But I think Ben made me change the name because he said it needed to be something else. I'm sure, man. I know I done looked on this one. Look, she even right here. She right here in the intro of it. So I don't hate her. I don't hate her. She in the intro of a video. Oh, that's the indigo. Yep. How they made the blue indigo shit. The damn sure. Look, I'm finna show y'all. Look. Watch you come up. Look at that. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing right there. You know what I'm saying? We ain't gotta play no games, bro. Man, we got a lot of videos. Y'all need to go watch them and learn something. What's that dude name in the chat? Kenny? You need to go over here on this page, bro. You need to take your time and you need to know who you're dealing with. Cause you don't know who you're dealing with. If you knew better, you would have never joined a panel. If you knew better, you would never join a panel, bro. Period, point blank, bro. You would have minded your business and shut up instead of opening your mouth, saying what you were saying. Because what you did was illegitimate. You ain't even represent her, bro. You ain't represent her. You ain't represent her at all. You just embarrassed her. Talking about come on your channel. No, bro. Your channel. You ain't got no information, bro. I'm not gonna waste my time. I was, like I said, I was playing college 2025, bro. And I just started playing it yesterday. My kids been playing it longer than I have. But I just started playing it yesterday. And I enjoyed it because I played it when I was younger and I was in college up until they made the last game. I used to hustle people on that game. But y'all ain't got no questions? Nobody in the chat with no questions? Y'all just got me up here just talking. I'm still looking for this presentation. It might be on Kofi channel. It might be on Kofi Pie Research Team channel. Either way I go, I know I got it somewhere. So it's on one of them channels. It's probably, I mean, I'm just probably not seeing it. We got a lot of information on West Africa, viruses, South, Central, and East Africa as well, cultural things, spiritual things, the slave trade, it's a shitload of shit. Slave trade. We got stuff on beating up the abos, which is what I always do. I beat up all misinformation. So anybody want smoke, you can get it with me. I ain't backing down from nothing. Aboriginal power still running from me. Talk about he want to debate. He don't want nothing. He's still making excuses. Dude still, nah, he better not still be in the chat talking. What you mean you glad you ain't there? You dropped off because of some dude. What do you mean you glad you ain't there? Fuck out of here. You glad you ain't there. Zane said might as well open a Twitch. Might as well, bro. Might as well. I asked them dudes in the chat some stuff, boy. They was going. It was crazy in that chat. These dudes said that they try to use, they call electromagnetism God. You heard me right. Electromagnetism is God. And then when they provided their source, right? Because when you call something God, you are basically saying that is the creation of all things. And that's life on this planet. It's more specifically when you do that, because humans created this notion of a deity. That would be the supreme origin of whatever mythology they want to refer to. But some kind of weird way, this dude, man, not this dude, them dudes, they don't understand it. The way they're trying to argue it is, it don't look too good for them because they don't know how to formulate their arguments. They're too invested in their belief, and therefore they can't take correction. Yeah. I ain't gonna do that. I have Ben look it up and tell me where that motherfucker at. But it might be one of them videos that YouTube probably told me to take down. Because YouTube be telling us to take down some of them stuff. Speaking of which, I need y'all to hit the like button. And then many people left. Let me stop sharing. Andy, what the fuck are you doing in the chat? What you doing in the chat, Andy? No, I have not seen a movie called Wolverine or Deadpool. That kid's special. Yeah, she was arguing with someone who wasn't qualified to have an intelligent dialogue with her because he was pseudo as well. She out pseudo the pseudo. Nah, I ain't see you say that. Where you say that at? I don't see that. I don't see no comment about what you said. Oh, by the way, yeah, I can do that. Hold on 1 second. Let me show y'all something. Ugly ass Yvette. Yvette, ugly as hell. Give me a second, y'all. It's gonna take me a minute to scroll down because of the amount of information that's on this page. But if dude's still in the chat or he listening, Kenny, if you still there and you listening, I want to show you something specifically on his community page. I gotta go back a little ways, but I'm gonna show you. Look at Dr. Claude. Shout out to Dr. Claude. There's a lot of information on here y'all should be grabbing, bro. And y'all know how I do it. Sources is in there too. Won't make no moves without the evidence to support us. Yeah, get an EIE. She don't know who lap she riding today, bro. She be all over the place. You gotta excuse people like that. Yeah, let them be them. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so many of you have already saw this this post, but I need to show y'all, and I'm gonna provide a date. I told you I gotta go back. I intentionally put a lot of information on a community page just so we have it documented, but it outlives us. So as long as YouTube exists and something was to happen to me or anyone else, the information is there. So if Europeans are going to confront this notion of preventing said history from being taught in schools and trying to remove that stuff, then we're going to have a place for our children to always know where to go to get it and always know who they are and understand it. So that's why I did that, because a lot of stuff that I've posted on social media isn't going to be, you're not going to be able to see it. So it was 2 months ago that I dropped this information. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. Right? And it said most mammals, including our closest living relatives, have hairy coats. So why do ours? And it goes on to talk about, I provide the source right there for information. And then I went on to show more information. The origins of human hairlessness began nearly 2 million years ago. Then you get more information. Then it gets into skin color. Then you get more information. Right? All of that right there to give you some understanding. But that's not all. Let me go to lives. This was supposed to be a debate that I was supposed to take with this dude, but he something happened with somebody in his family, the dude being Brother Truth, and I was unable to have that conversation with the brother, so I just made it a presentation and I presented it here, which was something that I talked about earlier. So it is in this and Teddy, if you're in the chat, this is what you were looking for. Black people in America pre-Columbus. The purpose and intent of this lecture is to argue the facts and evidence versus belief and hearsay. Many of Black sisters and brothers have lost their identity recently by arguing from ignorance. Let me go back a little bit. This is Teddy. This is what you was looking for, right? All skin folk ain't kinfolk, because I'm arguing that. I even bring up the little melanin shit. I don't even deal, yeah, vitamin D and the whole 9. This is it. I also present in this same presentation, I provide the evidence for those genes, not only the SL245, but the I gene and other genes that help. So this is that presentation. Right? Because in here, I know I started somewhere in this presentation about melanin. Because if I'm about skin tone, I'm definitely talking about melanin. Because I'm arguing against them fools that think they aboriginals. So I know for a fact I definitely get into that. My skin and shit is terrible. Yeah. It's that work. And he ran from this fade too, so I never got a chance to deal with it, but the presentation is there, so I don't see none of them responding to it. Number one. Bro, ain't nobody thinking about you. Talking about number one. Nah, go on over there with a saw, my nigga. A scissor. Go on over there. Do the Black Egypt thing. There you go. Phenotype. My son must be losing because he's talking. He's talking crazy and crying. See? The skin, hair, eye color of more than 8 billion people has been determined by light absorption pigment known as melanin. An article recently published in the Journal of Scientific, Science features research from Vivek Bajpai, PhD-led author and assistant professor at the School of Sustainable Chemical, Biological, and Materials Engineering at the University of Oklahoma, and collaborators from Stanford University. Their research has identified 135 new genes associated with pigmentation. Melanin is produced with special structures called melanosomes. Melanosomes are melanin-producing pigment called melanocytes. Although all humans have the same number of melanocytes, the amount of melanin they produce differs and gives rise to the variation of human skin color. Researchers found that 169 functional diverse genes that impacted melanin production. Of those 135 not previously associated with pigmentation, they further identified the function of two newly discovered genes, KLF6, you can look that up, and COMMD3, you can look that up. The DNA binding protein KLF6 led to the loss of function in humans and animals, confirming the role of KLF6 plays in melanin producing in other species as well. Blah, 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 blah. So all that right there. I'm going to drop this in the chat for you tonights. And let me go back to the video. Bro, I should have used these other sources. Let y'all see these jokers. Let me scroll down. So here's some sources from this presentation. All the lecture notes I posted on the community page, and that was back in April. So you got to go back a few months in order to obtain the sources that was used in this bill, if you're interested in any of the sources. Straight up, straight down. So yeah, man, I ain't rocking with that all stuff dude was on, man. Dude was tripping. Came on here and wasted our time and our energy. Like I said, I could have been playing a game. Well, no, I ain't put no shirt on. It was hot. I got hot. You shouldn't have been paying attention. But listen, man, this thing, 2 hours and 15 minutes is just right on time for y'all to review this shit again. For those of you who have missed it, I'm going to leave it at that. I appreciate everybody tapping in. You probably won't see me live again until I can get some real smoke from somebody really want to get it in. And I'm prepared for anything, whenever, wherever, however.
What I'm trying to say in the final analysis, once we take control of ourselves, we have to stop being imitators and be innovators. And realize we've got a continent 12 million square miles. Wherever our bodies are on the face of this earth, our cultural and political heartbeat is in Africa. Whether you ever go to Africa or not, that is your home, that is the home of your spirit, and that is the heart and meaning and definition of your commitment. And none of us, any place in the world, will be free until that continent is free.
The Mossy Warrior Clan was created because myself and others like Brother Nahisi saw a need for a young African group to analyze information concerning the African phenomenon with no bias, with rigor, and with scholarship. We created the Mossy Warrior Clan for the purpose of being an expert research team, of being a team that produced products, a team that was capable of producing products for African people globally to dispel myths, rumors, and provide them with accurate scholarship.